Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to say what's up to everyone, and I'm gonna try to make a new video today that isn't really dealing with the Mandela effect or business as usual. I'm gonna try to I don't know, just talk about something that I was discussing with my brother actually just the other day. But first, let me say thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to everybody that views these videos. Thank you to anybody that leaves a thumbs up, leaves a comment. Um, I appreciate all of you. Um, I was gonna say to any of you, feel free to email me if you want to. I've been having a lot of trouble with comments lately, and I've been having to scroll through each video, all the comments, to see if anybody's left anything. And I don't know if this is going on all around YouTube, but it's definitely happening on my channel, and a few of my subscribers are talking about the same thing happening to them. So if there's something that you really need to reach out, to me for, feel free. Um, and anybody that's never seen this or seen my channel, I answer everyone. Even if you're being kind of a jerk, I'm going to answer you back. But I try to make sure that I reply to every single person every single time, and that's definitely something that's lacking is communication between people, and that's going to be kind of somewhat of what today is about. Um, I was going to be talking about substance, and what really honestly started this conversation was me and my brother were talking about movies, and it got me thinking about just storytelling in general, and I keep looking down because I have a few things that I do want to touch on. Um, you know, what started our conversation was the movie It, the remake of the old Stephen King made for television movie years and years ago with John Ritter. And I love John Ritter, by the way. But, and I was a kid, and I remember, it scared me or gave me the heebie jeebies like it did, I think most kids probably around my age at the time. If you're older than me, maybe you were too old for it to really scare you. But I was pretty young, I think, and it scared me. Like I guess any kind of scary-ish type movie would, and or it was at least creepy. It wasn't no Freddy Krueger or anything like that. But I think even as a kid, I knew Freddy Krueger was kind of outlandish. There was a connection to the movie It that you know um, it dealt with kids, and at the time, myself, I was a kid. But I'm also a huge fan of you know of movies in general. You know, that's probably where anybody wants to point the finger at how I'm a shallow person, or I don't focus on necessities. It's probably because when it boils down to TV shows, and I think what really got us, when we started debating or just talking about movies then and movies now, and like I said, it was being remade right now, and in the remake, I was telling my brothers like I don't think it's gonna make it. Like I think it's gonna flop, and and it's not like we were disagreeing. We were just feeding each other's conversation, but I came to the conclusion that it's how are kids gonna relate to it, you know, it the movie and it itself. How are they gonna relate to it when kids don't play in the rain anymore. They don't play outside. They're not outside with GI Joes, or Hot Wheels, or putting magnifying glasses on ant piles or whatever we did as a kid. Um, those days are gone. They we don't have. Um, my nephew, said he played outside for like 4 hours, and he was like so tired or whatever. And it's like, man, we used to play outside from sun up to sundown. From throwing sticks into trees to having rock fights. With like gravel and stuff like that. I used to have an old tree that produced horse apples, and we would chunk those big heavy things at each other. And luckily nobody ever got hit like in the head or anything. But we played outside. We would come in stinky and dirty and like rings of dirt and like dead skin like around our creases of our necks. I mean, um, I feel like this movie isn't gonna make it today. Not unless it clearly focuses on like just like the jump factor, or, like The Ring and stuff like that, where it's a bunch of like little cheap little scare tactics. But I'm a huge fan of the kids that go on adventures. You know, like Stand by Me, Goonies, Mystic River really isn't about little kids, but it kind of is. Anybody that's ever seen it out there, it's a pretty tough movie, but it spawns from them as children, and it's a pretty tough movie. But the movie It, that it dealt with kids. Monster Squad. I don't know how many real geeky guys are out there, people or whatever they're out there, but a movie called Monster Squad about a bunch of kids that fought like all the traditional monsters: Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman. Um, even like Lost Boys, and I know a lot of you know that movie. And even like some TV shows like Stranger Things. Um, what our discussion ended up moving to was why it's like that. And we just started discussing storytelling in general, and any good storyteller, I mean, and this goes for any movie. It could be Hunger Games or Twilight, if that's your thing. Um, any good storytelling these days, you know there's no cell phones involved. I mean, they leave them out, or we're not getting a signal. Like it's the cell phones are always left out. And if they are used, it's used as a little flip phone, Walking Dead, or like Breaking Bad. It's never ever used for the GPS, or it's never used for digging up dirt on somebody. And when they use those type of elements in movies, they or in storytelling, they end up cheapening the story. So I think that directors, writers, storytellers, they just leave them out. I mean, it's not. What would a cell phone have done, in Harry Potter, or Lord of the Rings? Um, Absolutely nothing. Iron Man has every single tech gadget in the world, and he very ever seldom like uses like a cell phone. And it just got me. It just got me thinking. That the only way that a movie like it, is going to make it within the remake is dealing with people like me that and I'm sure I'll see it, just to say that I saw it, I guess. But that was my next point. Is it's gonna have to capitalize on the factors of nostalgia with the people that are my age, that we're literally like those kids that were in that movie, and the movie bounced back and forth between them being adults and being little kids. And that's basically what's happened to us right now. If we were little kids when we saw it, we're basically the age of the adults in that movie. So we're going to be the only ones that either try to take our kids, push our little, I don't know, nephews, nieces, or whatever, to try to watch the scary movie or whatever. And the honest truth is, even kids at that age, the attention span is so jacked that I don't think I've been able to be around a kid. Now, my daughter, she's a younger child, and she's not a teenager or anything, but I know that she'll sit down and watch movies with me. But I also think that a lot of that is because we don't live with each other, and spending time with dad is a special thing. And we watch movies and we discuss them as we're watching them. Yes, we're those annoying people that talk through the movie, but it's only usually if she's never seen it, or something like that. I mean, it's only if we have seen the movies. If we've never seen the movie, then yeah, we'll sit back and enjoy the ride, but we'll always discuss what we saw. And point being is, on a majority standpoint, we've lost that connection, with like storytelling, or we're losing it. You know, I think about, I think about what that says about us, like in general, and the people that we are, walking around the earth today. I mean, think about, you know, people don't talk anymore. I'm almost inclined to believe that some of the people that do watch my channel or other channels like mine, that are vlogish type channels, um, they enjoy some of the communication. And don't get me wrong, I listen to people talk to like-minded people. Um, I'm a big fan of like mixed martial arts. I like, I listen to Joe Rogan sometimes for, depending on whatever guest he's got. I listen to Bill Burr, the comedian. I don't know if any of you guys know who he is. Um, Try not to judge me on my likes and dislikes, please. I'm just letting y'all in here a little bit. But I gravitate to some of these people just because they're from the same school I'm from. We remember the same gripey parents. The same issues that we had back then, which is rock fights and getting into trouble that was actual trouble, not like trouble that existed in your browser history, which is basically where we're at now. Is uh, a lot of people and children alike, which we don't know what this is doing to them by subjecting our children to this type of environment. But they're zoned into this idiot box. And idiot box has been a term used for 30, 40, 50 years, that people knew way back when that it was going to be a type of demise for us. But that's not my point. um, you know I think the reason why I even made this video is when I thought about it, that when storytelling leaves out cell phones and things of that nature, what does that say about who we are now? We, like I said, we don't communicate. You know, kids don't even know what the fuck cursive is anymore. It's some foreign language to them. I never would have dreamed if somebody would have asked me where I thought communication would go before this big technology wave hit. I never would have dreamed that it would have gone basically back to typewriter essays and little circle faces, emojis. I don't know. I mean, it's very simplistic, and maybe communication that way needs to be simple, but we already don't talk and then or communicate on a verbal level. We communicate through little bitty tiny images, which they're making a movie about that too. Some emoji movie. And like typewriter text. That's basically what our communication has boiled down to, is little bitty essays to each other. Nobody really talks anymore. And I don't know. It just makes me think about, we've traded in playing outside, enjoying outdoors, things that, I mean, turn off. I mean, it's not like a real challenge, but if you turn off your phone or it gets broken, other than all the time you're spending finding a new one, if you actually put it up somewhere, which I really don't live with my phone in my face. I do have my laptop open a lot of times, but like I said here recently, I'm not really getting notifications, so honestly, I'm kind of checking it quite often. But there's so much more stuff you get done, and I mean, And I'm not trying to knock anybody for listening to Pandora, Spotify, getting their music somewhere else, whatever, however it may be you get your music. If you want to discuss how those companies abuse the artist, we'll talk about that some other time. But let's just look at it for music purposes. I'm not trying to knock anybody for turning on their music and cleaning their house, sitting outside and barbecuing, or something like that. I mean, I do it myself. If I work in the yard, I work outside. I turn on some tunes and you know get the job done. But you know, there's so much of there's so much communication, even within the communication of texting, messaging, Facebook posts, Twitter, how here, in the forum here, how many times, and I know that's had to have happened to all of us at some point or another. How many times have what we said been taken out of context? And I'm pretty sure that's why emojis exist. I'm sure, but just think about how many times something that we sent in a message was misunderstood, or people didn't know you were trying to be funny or cynical. They took you seriously. I mean, it's happened to me 100,000 times, and I can send someone a text, my daughter's mother, we could be arguing about this or that, and I'm not gonna be able to talk to her on the phone. Like, that's just not going to happen. It has to be these gigantic, long, drawn out paragraphs, of text. And I mean, honestly, there's really no way to convey any emotion or importance or, even, um, you know, conversation submission when you're like, oh, well, you're right. I really didn't think about it that way. Yeah, you can text all this stuff, but you really don't know how they're interpreting it. So I mean, I guess, I guess my whole reasoning behind this is if people that make movies and TV shows make a successful one or a good story, they do it by leaving out this unsubstantial communication device or devices or platforms that we use because they know there's no communication there. I mean, don't get me wrong, people have been reading books forever, but these are professionals that are really good at being descriptive. That's not what we do in text messages or forums. That's not how we communicate. But I don't know. It makes me worry about what we're living in right now, the world that we're living in, the life that we're living. If if they if people know how to make movies and tell stories without adding the element that we literally live every single day, who are we? What is this life that we live now? It has no substance. It has no fiber. We live a life that's like pudding, or jello. I mean, I don't think that we're getting our needs met. We're searching for them through leisure, or through, our devices or whatever it is. Even this right here that I do with you guys, I mean, you guys are on one end, but for me personally, and a lot of you that know me know this, that, what I get from YouTube isn't the likes, isn't the subscriptions. I mean, I'm here for the communication, and to be honest, it's almost unfair. I get to speak the way I want to speak, and you guys just have to bounce off of it and leave little messages, but I mean, just think about how much more substance some of these conversations that we have or try to have within comments. Just think about how much different they would be if they were face to face, or if they were actually on the phone, or sitting across from each other, drinking coffee, doing whatever it is that people do, and actually communicate about something. I mean, there'd be so many aha moments where like, oh, I didn't think about that, or I thought, man, that's a good point, or like, man, I never saw it that way. I don't know. There would just be so much more added to it, than three lines of text. And don't get me wrong, please, by all means, leave as many comments and as long as you want. That's why I always tell people, leave the lengthiest comment you want to leave. That's going to give me the best idea of what you're trying to say so I can better understand you. I try to be fair. If you send me 2 or 3 paragraphs, I'm going to try to send you back something close. It may not be the same, but I'll try to send you back something close. If you try to say, good job, and guess what kind of message you're going to get? One equally as in length. Um, but anyway, so I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up. I didn't really want to drag it on this long, but like I said, it's a conversation. If this is all written out, I can imagine how big the text would be. I wrote down some of my points on paper, and it's 2 pages. And you'd have to pull teeth to get me right more in a paragraph when I was in school. But I don't know. It's a dying format. We're a dying format. You know, we no longer communicate. And if we don't communicate, what are we? It's basically an animal. Now I know that the whole we're animals kind of thing. That's not what I mean. But I mean, when's the last time you held a conversation with your dog, or they talked back? Or a giraffe or a gazelle. Anything other than human beings. They don't talk back. And I ain't talking about a monkey that can do sign language. I mean, we're regressing. We're going backwards. What makes us human is basically leaving us. And that's, like I said, that's the way I feel about it anyway. Is even storytelling that's going to probably drop off the face of the earth in 30, 40, 50 years. For the most part. And if we we probably won't even understand what is being talked about in 20 or 30 years. you know so anyway, that's it. I appreciate everyone. Thanks for hanging in here and listening. um, by all means, like always, leave as much comment as you want to. You don't have to like it, you don't have to subscribe. I'm not going to make a penny from this. I just do it because of literally what this was about. Is I needed more life in my, or more substance in my life, and I'm very fortunate, and some of you are too, to have found each other and myself, and likewise me finding you guys. Is I can talk to you people, you guys and gals, whatever. I can talk to everyone, and it's people that are at least like-minded, and people just don't get to have conversations. And I know a lot of you guys want me to go live, and I'm probably going to do that pretty soon. I'm going to try to, but that's what I'm here for. I want to communicate. I'm my life needs it, and I get that from a lot of you, and for that I'm appreciative. So on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. I love all you guys, and stay strong. I'll see you guys soon.